Good evening, everyone. Once again, I welcome all of you on behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art Bangalore, Ministry of Culture, Government of India. We are delighted to begin panel discussion, Live Bodies, Living Bodies in Bangalore, moderated by Ms. Dhanya. To tell you about Ms. Dhanya is an art historian, writer, artist, curator, whose interdisciplinary practices span research, writing, curation, artistic inquiry. Her work is deeply engaged with questions of identity, domesticity, and lived experiences, and she has contributed significantly to contemporary art discourse through her writing, editorial work, and curatorial projects. Her recent exhibitions and collaborative initiatives reflect a commitment to fostering dialogue, exchange, and community within contemporary art practice. As a moderator, I hope Dhanya brings a thoughtful and critical perspective to today's conversation, which will explore the experiences, histories, and evolving context of live and performance-based practice in Bangalore. Over to you, Ms. Dhanya, and we start the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. And yes, even it has to be said that, I haven't really performed. I'm someone who has performed a little bit, probably like 15 years ago, and then a little bit in Berlin in the last year. And since then, I've been picking Smitha's brains, asking her questions about her practice. And through these conversations that we had, I'm here today. So I'm very extremely thankful to Smitha Cariappa for giving me this opportunity because I love talking to artists and finding out, the germ of, where the practice comes from. Um, and thank you to NGMA for giving me this platform. Um, Today, I mean, it would have been wonderful if everyone could have been on stage. But since there is, a lack of space, I invite Dimple Bisha, Jitin Rangel, Sridhar Ganguly, Monica Nanjunda, and Parmesh Jollad onto the stage so we can have a conversation. And hopefully, as it goes, we'll go back and forth between, performance artists who are also in the audience because there are a lot of questions that I would like to hear answers from them too. Thank you. Um, it's the third day of us all gathering together to witness these performances, and um, there was something very poignant that I noticed in the last few days. I felt a lot of the performances had to do with, you know, endurance. It had to do with strength. It had to do with, gaining through expending, like how much time and how much of your strength you are giving into this performance. And it was very interesting to see how the audience reacted to this too. There was a lot of curiosity. There were a lot of questions. Um, and so I thought about looking at, performance as a ritual. And so I'll open with this question of asking, um, is performance ritual or is ritual performance? And what do you feel about it? Anyone can open.
Okay, so see, That will be too loud. This will be too loud. I can shout. It's okay. You can't hear? Oh, so whatever I say, it goes online. That is bad. Okay. So when you are in subcontinent, you cannot move away from the idea of rituals. Your actions automatically will, because you are an artist, you are sensitive, you are seeing things, you are absorbing things. So automatically the visuals will, the thing that you are trying to create or a repetitive thing, will bring in ritualistic actions. How sensitive you can be with that, or how detached or aware you can be with through that, is more important. Then again, if I am doing a performance which is constantly going on for years together, it can be ritualistic for me. Might not be. It might be for you, or somebody who's witnessing it, or who's a spectator or an audience. I see all three of them different. Okay, they are not one. So when they are seeing it, for them it is just an action that you are doing. So when I'm creating something, it can create a ritual for me because it is my personal space that I'm trying to create into a public space or wherever in a gallery where I'm doing. So I can create a ritual of my own symbolic ritual, and it might have some ritualistic actions from my subconscious mind. Okay, because I would have seen certain things, I would have read certain things, I will bring those things back into it, knowingly or unknowingly. The artist has to be sensitive enough to understand what is coming knowingly, what is coming unknowingly. That is my opinion.
Interesting. Uh,
Um, I feel ritual is a process in Indian and most of the Southeast Asian countries, because we are rooted in much with our culture, and everyday activity is engrossed in that kind of ritual of cleansing, putting rangoli and thing, and that also becomes a kind of psych behind our own process. So it's very much ingrained in that. And I also feel that we also do a ritual to enter into our own kind of space, which we otherwise it's not possible to enter. So for us to enter into the very innermost part of our own, we do this kind of ritual. For me it is like that. So for me it is like entering, and then I'm like there in that spot, and then I explore more about it. So ritual is kind of an very essential, especially for my kind of work. And Monica, you want to add something?
So when it comes to rituals, basically, see, when I started my performance art, so I was extremely kind of a rational thinker. Okay, so later, just I started the vipassana. I'm practicing vipassana. So that,
okay, wonderful.
yeah, that in that part is a kind of transition time. Nowadays, just I focus more. Ritual is a I use it as a tool. So when it comes to performance art, so I use it as a tool. Not, I mean, exactly 100% is a ritual. So I see in that way.
Yeah, I mean, Dimple also spoke about, how you go, within yourself and to the, deeper part. You go into a zone. I could see that. I could see that in many of the performances that this is not the same Dimple that talks near the canteen. This is, you know, somebody else doing this. A different Dimple. Yeah. Jolad, Monica.
So according to me, it's individual perception.
Okay. Then it was also very intriguing to see how enthusiastic or ready all the performers have been to do the performances. And I thought that, okay, is there joy while you're performing? And you spoke about this zone that you go inside this space. uh, I think it's completely heightened focus, right? I'm sure that you're probably hearing the sounds differently, you're seeing things differently. um, could you talk a little bit about that? How is it while you're performing? What are you experiencing?
Uh, Actually, according to my work, so I got to settle something else to the audience. So when the subject comes, so I prepare myself in the sense. So I must react to that one because personally I feel about certain incident um, going around me. And being an artist, I want to react to that one. So initially start. So I must speak. Being an artist, being a responsible person. You said joy. So it is like an we are having. It's like an carrying woman. Like I have a subject to deliver it. So how the women uh, feel the joy after delivering, the same way I'm feeling like that. I will be tension free once I got the insight. Then I when I delivered it, so I'll be peaceful and relaxed. Like it's also one of the joys.
Wonderful. Sridhar, yours was 100%, so you have to give an answer for this. How did you feel when you were, lifting? I don't know, we didn't count the number of times you lifted the water. So the question is, what are you feeling as you perform? What is going through you, as you do it? What are the thoughts, or like, what are you
We were
feeling?
talking about yesterday's performance. Or
Yeah, your perform. I think yours was the day before
yeah,
yesterday,
yeah,
right? Yes.
yeah. So you have seen that repetition. So I was not in hurry.
Uh,
Okay, so when I'm doing that performance, I was not in hurry. Continuously, I know that. So I cannot finish it immediately. Okay, just I started doing it. I mean, it normalized the process. It normalized me. I don't have any intention to. I knew it that I cannot. Finish it. Immediately. But it is a process. Thus, I have to go through it. I know. So calmly, just I kept on pouring the water. I picked up the water and poured it continuously. I said one more also I could do that. Yeah, until unless completely I exhaust, I could do that.
and Jitin, so while you were performing, there was also, a little bit. I felt that there could have been pain
Hmm.
involved in some of the movements. I don't know if I'm imagining, but yes, yeah. What was the experience of performing this particular performance?
Okay, I don't see it as the experience. I see it as a body transitioning through the mind in that process.
Beautiful.
If I'm trying to, at that moment, if I'm trying to think about those things, then I'm not into it.
Mm.
Okay, so what I do, how do I plan my work is I do not plan any negative thing. I don't keep a plan B. I am very open with the idea that I will start. How it flows, it flows. I had no clue whether the mirror will reach to the garden or not. What will happen to the garden? It's proper improvisation that goes on constantly. And the more you go into that mode, you are going deeper and deeper into it. And automatically, as you're going deeper and deeper into it, things change. You have an abstract idea, it's a broader idea that you will keep. But then when you start moving into it, it goes deeper and deeper into it.
Mm.
That's how I generally do it. And about the pain, it is interesting. Okay, so this is also very good. You can regulate a lot of stuff with your breath. He
Mm.
is doing
Yes,
vipassana,
yes.
so he also knows. So that can be used as a tool to
Mm.
regulate your thing. But when you're into that, the whole thing kind of goes in this thing. You are aware of what is happening, how it is happening, but you're not bothered about what is happening. Of course, I'm not going to cut my leg. I have to be that much sensible. And that is where when I am pushing the board into the grass, it's going deeper and deeper. I need to improvise as an artist to change my movement of my leg. So I started pulling it up and then pushing it down in that way. So those things you have to be aware of while being in that mode of doing it also. So that's how I do most of my work. If I'm doing a durational work, of course, there's a lot of, let's say, when I did one work where I was in the bathtub with water for 11 hours. So your body goes through lot of stuff into that. So when you're doing that, you need to regulate it. If I bring a thought that I am feeling cold or something is happening, my body will start shivering. So that process is happening in the back of the mind. But I do not keep those things as a plan B or something will go wrong. Because according to me, if I'm thinking of something will go wrong, something will of course go wrong. So I don't do that. The idea. Yeah.
It's okay. We
Okay.
can share.
So I feel for me, all the elements which I bring in, like, although they are heavy, I don't feel the pain at that moment when I'm carrying, because I don't take it so physically. It is for me transforming at the every stage, and the breath which I take is, I think, which I, in all the performance I use that as my own tool of, conscious element of breathe in, breathe out, and that helps me into the process. And we don't plan, like, we'll have a starting point, but I don't know how I'll end in the how the process will end finally, or what will happen in between. So we go with the flow, but this is more, also there is a transition happening. There is a different kind of energy which is flowing within, and you're going with that moment. And sometimes, the it also falls, yeah, sometimes it goes wrong, but then we adopt that, and and we move forward. So this was not planned that it has to fall, but it fell down, so then you adopt to it, and then again you're taking it and moving it forward. But this whole process, I said, no, it is a way of entering into that state. And I feel, I don't see people that time. I don't For me everything becomes empty land, like, although visibly physically I'm seeing them, but for me I'm not so conscious what's there, so I mean, I could enter within cautiously within my own space as I'm doing it. It's as if I'm dreaming at that moment, so it is a transition which happens, and I enjoy that process, because it brings closer to myself. Yeah.
That's a beautiful answer. I was hoping that, someone would open up and talk about that.
Yeah. So if I want to talk about pain part, so just I want to mention my recent performances. So in that performances immediately, so I mean, I did not feel any pain. One of the performance in either Rangoli Metro Center, so where I did in a 10-foot bamboo, I did a tug of war. Okay. So at the moment, so I did the, I mean, around 10, 15 members that I did that for. But at that moment, I did not feel anything. Just I exhaust finally. I exhausted completely. But after that, from the next day, so another 2 weeks, so I suffered like anything. So like that, so another performance I did with the water. So I mean, there was a staircase, almost 10, I think 10, 12 is a staircase. Continuously, I did for 30 to 45 minutes. So that also another 2 weeks. So I, almost 1 week I could not walk properly. So I carried that pain for the longer duration, but not at that moment of the performance.
There is, you have enough strength. I think the mind carries you
Sometimes
for
what happens is when you're
that
in
you can.
public, when you're performing,
Ah,
so you don't feel that pain immediately.
yes.
So, and you don't focus on that pain part.
Mm,
So you will focus on what you are doing.
mm.
So, and if so you will, I mean, negotiate with that pain, and so you will compromise with that pain for short time. Maybe
Yes.
that will reflect later.
I think for durational works, we have to mentally prepare.
Yes.
We should actually, should as in I do that. So if it is like 4 hours, 6 hours, we have to be prepared as to, what's going to happen. You can't break from it and go for, your washroom or anything like that. So for me, I have always prepared and then I sit. So that's how it
Yeah,
works.
I saw that with Smitha's performance at Venkatappa too.
Actually, for every performance, when we are given a theme, initial plan will be there for me. I don't know about others. I will plan, initial plan will be there. So later on, it will not in our hand. When we entered the space, we can't say how it move, because the space is different, the audience will be different, and your movement. Actually, if you plan, it will not go according to your plan. 100% it will not go according to your plan. And the actions, we are not regularly doing that one. See, for lifting pot, putting pouring the water and all. Say, now we have a tap in now the house, to do that exercise here. So all of a sudden, when in the performance I need to do that one, definitely it will, the pain will be there, not immediately, maybe tomorrow, like later on. But there's a beauty of our work, and we satisfied that we never accept it as a pain. We enjoyed it.
Um, so you were talking about, how even if you plan, I mean, there is some plan, but if you plan, everything from A to Z, it's not going to go like that, because of course it's happening in the public space. Things don't go, the way you think they would.
So in finally, when I was concluding, it was not part of my plan or something else. When I poured my water on that one, just I wanted to refresh from that one. So maybe refresh for me or refresh for that theme. It's happened. Uh, Accidentally it happened like.
So okay, what about the things that you do plan, and some of it you're able to carry forward, and when is it that you had to change on the spot and do something else?
That is when if there is an interaction happening, that's how I would improvise accordingly. Or, small little bit of things that, as Jitin said, you have to be prepared for that as well, if in case something happens. So there was one work where I was working with rice, counting rice for hours together.
It's a
So
famous
if there
work.
is,
It's a well-known work, yeah.
Abramovic, which I didn't know.
No, I'm
I
talking about
hadn't.
your work.
Oh, okay. I had no clue. So there were insects that were coming into it, and that became very interesting for the people. But for me, I hadn't expected, the insects to come in. So then, how do you deal with that? The whole interpretation changes as well.
Were the insects trying to like
The
take the
ants,
rice?
or yeah, they would just because it was on the ground.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
So
So you had collaborators.
yeah, so unexpected collaborators. You have to, just deal with it.
Yeah, see, if you want me to talk about yesterday's experience, so when we started collective performance, basically just I shared my basic idea with the friends. So the basic idea was just we have to communicate, interact with the pillar. So just we have to communicate with the pillar. Just what I said, I want to climb up the pillar. But so when the security, I mean, started whistling, so immediately we changed. The basic idea hasn't changed. Okay, so still be able to, I mean, interact with that, but slightly we change the way. So that's okay. So in the most of the performance it happens because we have a basic ideas, but we'll execute it, but maybe not in the I mean what we planned in that way, but definitely so we'll be able to interact with that.
I think performance art is not scripted. We don't script it, so everything becomes part of it. Like the for me, like the second part was everything went little
Rain.
yeah, because of rain and interaction I had to pull, and then I accepted it because it's a situation, and that becomes part of it, and that is all becomes it is And I think that would have been a good ending, the way it happened. So, so actually, we don't plan so much, but we have some materials with it. But we don't know how it will be interacted, how the people will react, how the things will react. We don't know anything. So it is we cannot script our performance. We know some movements, but that won't last long. Yeah.
So Sridhar, you were talking about the pillars. So this whole 3 day set of performances, they they've been like centered around the idea of somatic bodies in the city, and also uh, somehow inadvertently also site specific. It happened in NGMA. It's not going to happen anywhere else anymore, right? Unless you really want it to happen. So how did the site influence your work? Um, how did you already? I mean, did the site have a large effect on how your performance panned out, or did you base it around the site after seeing the site, or you made do with what you could find?
All of my performances, I mean, done in a Bangalore. Most of them, my performances done in Bangalore as a site. I consider Bangalore as a site, not only the
The
NGM.
city itself.
Yeah, city itself. Yes. So, I, I mean, there is, I don't see much changes. See, this is a post-colonial kind of building, so we responded to it. So we responded to it. So we, yeah, that's a,
So when the theme was given to us, so one day earlier I came over here. So what I could do here. So I was searching for the space. Then when I saw that empty pond, so then I thought, okay, I should work on that one. So this is how it happens sometimes. For me, if it is possible, I'll go earlier there and look at the space and look into the possibilities there.
I worked with the theme as well as the space, so it went beautifully well for me. At least in my mind, it worked out.
The choice of starting from the beginning near
From
the
the gate,
gate, and
interacting
coming
with
through the
the
garden, through the
sculptures.
sculptures. What was the role of being with near these sculptures?
Sculptures, it was more like, me being in, I came to Bangalore for my studies. So it literally panned out beautifully so. And there was Balanambia's sculpture as well. I was very happy to, interact because uh, I'm we're good friends. So then he was the first artist, like, uh, who I interacted with while in
He's
college.
wonderful. Yes.
Yeah. So I got a chance to do that. It was more like, as an art student interacting with the sculptures, and then the constant blowing of the blowing air into the globe was like, it's more like breathing, in fact. Um, and the globe, as I had written to you, that it was a representation of the mind for me, taking the analogy of taking it as a metaphor for mind and ego of the person, but the context is that of the philosophy that comes from the Advaitic philosophy or the Buddhist philosophy, where they say everything is in the mind. But the whole procedure was that of living the life that I've lived in Bangalore, and then eventually, culminated over here. So,
The end of the performance, I think you were next to the
stone bench. I was sitting in the stone bench,
yeah,
and I was interacting with the audience who was sitting there. I had those small uh, globe,
globe balls.
the
Yeah,
balls which I was throwing back and forth, and that was like interacting thoughts flying across.
yeah.
Uh, for me, when Smitha shared her curatorial note, I'm already working with the history. Most of my performance are with the history of the city and places. So it was, I could connect immediately. And I also was thinking about Bangalore, growing like very fast, and every time we are losing this heritage building, even this building we would have lost, because then artists protested, and then it was converted to modern art gallery. So for me, like we are all trying to save a castle which is kind of in the air. And for me, I try to work with the construction, and the Gopuram, which is like a construction site, which was going. And the quilt which I was carrying was kind of in memory. The period of 40 years, I have come to Bangalore from like 40 years ago, and the memory which I have weaved through this, with my own clothes and using my own clothes. And so it is like in running through that memory of a city, and losing heritage, and all this thing I was carrying with me. I didn't want to lose. But finally what happens is it is flying in the air, Galinali Gopura. So that's what I like to title my work, Site Under Construction. Bangalore is a site under construction, always having construction. Even right now in NGMA, the construction going, and that's why I chose that spot where there is something is happening, construction is happening. And the process of interacting with the audience was also to build up something like constructive, kind of a
Yes, yes, with the
structure
matchsticks.
with the matchsticks and the natural sticks. And finally I wanted to burn it, but then I retained it because it was like also moist, and I was not sure like how it will turn. But finally I burnt some of the sticks, and then the swing. So it is like suspended. The idea is suspended in the air. Finally, that was my way of working with this site as a performance.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I have come from a labor class. Okay, from from my class sixth, I was working with my dad. Okay, so that was a memory. So also the concept was listening, watching. So when you see in this site, keep watching. So you will see a lot of the labor issues. So in my first performance, what I did is, I hold a placard of 90% discount in some shops here and there. Okay, so
I hope you didn't get in trouble.
yeah, there was a policeman came and he moved to the other shop, and shop owner came. Enough, you were standing here for half an hour. You go to the next stop, the next shop. So said so it is a memory. So when I see labors here and there, how they come up, end up with this kind of some odd jobs. So all these, I mean, I kept watching. So I lived in Bangalore for 17 years. So that's how I responded. So this also, so yesterday's work is all about, laboring, how they, continuously they have to. I said just, I knew it. I have to do continuously for durational performance. Just if you see some labors they are doing, just they are plucking the grass. So there is no productivity. Without any productivity, just you should continuously, you should keep doing. I knew that. That's why continuously I did that without any.
Even in Zen philosophy, we have the rock gardens, and yeah, you have to keep brooming.
Yes.
You have to keep creating the same patterns over and over again.
No final result, no final products,
Yes.
nothing.
Yes. The act itself is it. That's it. Yes. Um, what about the choice of materials? So I saw a lot of uh, natural materials, especially in dimples. Um, so how is it that you decide that you're going to go with a certain material? Do you always gravitate towards certain kinds of material?
Yeah. Sometimes work kind of demands that kind of treatment. Sometimes I've used unnatural material earlier also, but now very consciously I've been using. Even if I have used unnatural material, it is very intentional for that performance. Not because I want to use unnatural thing, but maximum I most of my performance from past, I think 15 years, it's been like ecological. So I try to bring natural element, uh, and I wanted to pick things from within the site also. That's why those twigs and all that I have picked up, because element which are part of the building, which are part of the ecosystem, which have history embedded in them, because they have been living, these trees have been living for 100 and 150 years, more than that. So when you pick something from that, you're carrying that history within, so I wanted to very intentionally, I wanted to be part, take it part of work as a, so it's very natural for me to use it.
Jitin, material, like the mirror and paper birds.
Huh. So see, performance becomes a performance when there is a body, okay? There is a space and time. These three things are the eternal things. Without this, there is no performance. The body has to be there. The body will be there in the space. And if the body is there in the space has its own political statement. Okay? Now, let's say if I'm here in NGMA, the act that I did with Mirror, it's the same act. I do it in front of Parliament. The whole statement changes, whether I want it or not. My action can be same. But I have to be aware that the space is different. If I'm doing it at night, the time is different. The same thing if I'm doing it somewhere in UK, somewhere in Sri Lanka, anywhere in the world, the space defines my action. So we need to first understand as performers or performance artists, this is my body, I have control over this. Okay? But the space where I am, that is the most important part. I cannot come here, remove my clothes and run around naked. Nah, I cannot do that. I will have to be aware of that. So as a performance artist, you have to be aware of these three things first. And then comes the element that you're using. What are the elements? Objects, fire, ice, water. All these are the elements of performance art as you have in your visual art. These are different kind of elements. So any kind of object you can take. How do you relate to that object? How does that relate, or how do you want to have a conversation of that object with the space? If I'm taking the same mirror and I'm standing at a signal and I'm holding it here, the whole statement changes. It's the same body, same mirror, but the statement changes. So the whole idea of mirror that I brought in here was is about the invisible bodies. Okay. There are so many people who would have done so many things for this. Gone. We will be also gone. Okay. And but the human nature is to see like this or like this. It's not this way. So I'm trying to bring in those invisible bodies and trying to, and that's where I started putting the reflection onto the people and then inside the gallery. And I was trying to take those bodies inside the gallery also and then bringing it out. So my, that was my way of doing it. Yeah.
And the paper boats.
Paper boats. Okay. So paper boats. Okay. Now when I do a certain kind of performance, so I use a material for at least four, five, six, or 10 works because my relationship with that object is going to change. If I start using boat for the first time, I might have a very intellectual idea of using a boat. But as I keep using it in a certain space, the whole relationship with that object is changing. This is what a lot of young people will have to understand, that it's always good to use one object multiple times, because then your relationship with that object changes. So if you're taking that object into a different space also, you are at least aligned with the object. So boat in my case, it is very symbolic of transition from this to that. Pick a transition from this side to that side, all those things. I come from so like when I came to Bangalore, I don't have a native. People ask me, where is your native? I don't have a native. Till now, I never have a native. So the whole idea of I'm in a boat and I'm just floating. There is no native. Till now, I don't have a native anywhere in this world, and I might not have a native. That is the idea of fluidity. You are just floating, and that's how I wanted to bring in that idea. Yeah.
And to Monica, then the globe, the recurring globe.
Yeah. So that it's pretty much the same. When I use the globe, I use one particular material for a series of my works. So there's a continuation of what I'm doing. It's also the state of my mind where that is also reflected, but the space matters as well. What is the relationship? And then I try to see what can be, if it is possible that I'm able to express myself. Like this was a very personal sort of an approach using a public space, but it worked out so well for me because it is a museum, it is a gallery, and me being an artist came here for studies and all of that. So yeah, that's how it is. And
So the materials, basically material, and probably even the performances, they're a series basically,
yeah,
right? Yeah, and there is like added meaning with each performance.
yes.
Yes.
So how
So
painting, when you do a series of paintings, it comes
yes.
out in episodes, like it literally comes out in, series. So it's the same way, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're progressing in process, you know. So the same material teaches you to see in different perspective, in different space and different contexts. Yeah, so the glass of half filled glass of water can become anything, you know. So it's always half filled, like, you know, for us, because the material has a very core purpose with our body. It is a second layer almost. So like the quilt which I was carrying, I didn't feel that it is away from my body. It was part of my body, so I don't detach it. So
You almost look like a sculpture, Dimple. When I came there, I was looking for you, and then Seema said, "Oh, she's over there." No.
yeah, so it's also, you know, you try to become part of it. And I think every artist, performance artist or an artist, and like to become a material itself by, you know, interacting with it. I feel it. It's my way of observing things.
See, material, so I very carefully I use material and very less material I use in my performance. In yesterday's my performance, I used a plastic pot. When it comes to plastic water pot, so it has a political. So you can see how the earlier we used to use a different. The aluminium water pot. So when I use this plastic pot, so it says that contemporary time.
It reflects, yeah, the change. If it's possible to kind of go to some of the artists in the audience, because I don't want to forget asking some of our artists in the audience some of the questions. Do we have a mic? Okay. Saloni, about using the site, especially using the tree. Um, what was your experience?
So, yeah, can you just repeat the question? Can you repeat the question? Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about how the site has influenced the performance, right? NGMA itself.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very interesting that you chose the tree, because I was really, that's a gorgeous tree.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to see you perform, under it, and kind of, it was uh, collaborating with you. That's what
Yeah.
I would like to call it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in a
So,
way, I would say somewhere the conversation that I was having with you on the first day, and the way I was absorbing everything happening around me, that influenced like what I wanted to do. So you were also you asked the question like whatever the artists are performing, like had it been somewhere else, so how would it had been different, and how are they connecting it here, doing it in the NGMA and relating it to the topic. So that all those questions and absorbing
the performances that were happening on the first day, that uh, certainly shaped my performance. So I really wanted to map all the textures that were there on the site, be it nature, be it the architecture building that was there. So that's how it occurred to me, actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And Seema, the choice of materials, Seema, and like what you chose to do with the agarbatti, kind of painting with the agarbatti also.
Uh, like initially, I chose different material, but then according to the site-specific responsibility also, then I changed. Like I thought agarbatti is the most safest material for using this uh, for this performance, and like for the site or for this element that I have taken initially, I decided I will choose something in between construction and the tree side. But then like I also like when Smitha has told like you can choose different side, then I thought I can choose the pillars, which is also a contrast between the trees and the building. So,
Okay, wonderful. And the flowers, Seema, would you like to say anything about that?
yeah,
You had beaten the flowers into the cloth.
no, not beaten.
Oh,
I tried to do the eco print using all the process of printing,
okay. I've
but it
seen a
didn't come
Chinese
out.
printing technique where they beat. Sorry. Okay, you
Yeah,
were
but
gentle to the flowers. Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, Salvan. Oh, you did. Ah, there was green on the fabric. Yeah, 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 yeah. And Bhagya Lakshmi. Yes, mic to Bhagya Lakshmi. Um, I thought it was very interesting, like how you you chose to, kind of draw on the mud with your leg. So, yeah, could you say something about that?
Yes, when the subject was related the city, I came into the city as a you people came. So it's a communication. We try to mingle with the people, and again we go back to ourselves and search for ourselves. These things are we are able to through like ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಡುಕ್ತೀವಿ ಆ ಹುಡುಕಾಟ ಅದನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ.
And the pori, in Tamil we call it pori. You also distributed this.
So
So,
city is most the city is related the culture related food, and we connected with we meet people with food and these things na. I just want to bring those elements
okay, that's
into the
wonderful. Like
performance.
food, uh, it's a wonderful part of performance when it happens because naturally it becomes interactive then when you're sharing the food. So yeah, that was interesting. Um, so what is the difference between live performance and performing on on one's own and documenting it for showing later? Like I think Umesh sir's performance, he's done it somewhere in the mountains. Quite a few of the performances are done in sites where it's on the spot. He chose to do something. Um, how is it, uh, that you are doing performance in front of an audience and you know that there is going to be an audience, or sometimes you choose to do a performance just for yourself and probably there's a documentation of it for a later. Does anyone have any experience that they would like to narrate? And for either, I mean, I'm more interested in like performing not live.
It depends on the theme what we're working. For me, actually, I choose the subjects from the society. So I want to convey to the society itself. So I need a audience. So for me, I would like to do in front of the audience only. But certain times, if it is necessary, or I mean to perform in some remote area and all, I'll do it. Make a video documents and send it to the public link. for me, better it should be happen in front of the public.
In front of the
Again, it
audience,
is depend on the topic.
on the topic.
Yeah,
Is there a different energy when you're performing in front of others? Do you feel it's different from doing, on your own?
yeah. But see, when you are doing alone, single or with any document person, so there will be no hurdles and all, no objections. Nothing. You are doing on your own. Here, the space is different, on the audience will be there. What kind of audience you will have, you can't say anything. So how they react to you, we can't calculate that one. So we should be very cautious, and we should think that we should prepare for everything. If anything has happened over there, oh, we have to face it. That's a part of our performance.
So you like the challenge of doing in front of live audiences in public spaces?
100% for the performance artists, those who are doing in the public, it's a every time it's a challenging one.
Mm.
Every time we are going through the exams like yeah, for me. See, again, whenever the Smitha ma'am giving some themes, I'm feeling I'm answering an exam, so I have to prepare for that one. How to see, so, always he gives some themes, so I just keep on thinking so how to prepare for that, how to present the same way. This also performance also like that only. So when you see, when you paint and when you exhibit the works in gallery, you will have some dreams or some expectations will be there. So how the show goes and all.
Yes.
The same time when you go into the public, so challenges will be there. Both will enjoy and you will face the problem also.
So the rice counting had first started at Morni Hills, Harpreet Singh's art space. So I'd done it all by myself. The counting had started there. But later it culminated into a article which Deepa Basti and Sunoj, they were running a art magazine, online art magazine. So it turned out into a very article in the sense of it was more like a poem written. It was a small piece, so it can help you develop the idea, or it can turn into something
Further.
another medium itself altogether.
So how the counting of rice, like, uh, would you like to say something more about that? Like, how did it start? How did the idea start?
So it started in Israel. There was a Zaz festival where I was invited, and there was a workshop. Rocco Juha, an artist from Budapest. He was having a workshop for people there. So I joined in, and then I don't really remember exactly what it was. He said, pick up material that is very personal to you. That's something that you can relate to. And I was very, thrilled that rice was in abundance in Israel. So that's something very personal to me because that's what we eat in like South India. That's the main staple food, and that's what it is in Coorg. So I went for that, and from there the idea germinated, and then it evolved into something else at Morney Hills, and then it continued. So that's how a material can go on from one work to the other as well. There should be a continuity, is what I feel. Then that there's a there's a strength to the work. There's some substance to the work.
I think we missed the basic question. Like you were asking, like how you do a kind of solo performance in an empty space and public space. That was the your core question. So I have worked in both. I didn't have any audience, and I worked in Kalagrama. There is this bamboo leaves, piles and piles of bamboo leaves, and for hours I was just lying and performing and rolling and working just for my sake. And there was a documentation of it. Uh, but then later on, I got a blast from a friend, Kavita, who is well known for her nature things, like nature details and all. Then she was saying that why did you roll in that? Like there are a lot of snakes in Kalagrama, and because it was a very big pile of bamboo. So I think sometimes intimate performance are must, and also public performance is must, because both brings you to some different tangent points. It's like two different tangent points, and in between spaces also you should know, and the end points also you should know, because this is very close to yourself, because you're not showing off to anybody. And if you're performing durational for hours for yourself, it's really different, you know. क्यों perform कर रहे हो, you know, the main the word itself perform, that vanishes, you know. You're not performing, you're just in the space. You have to contemplate in the space. The word performance just vanishes. And when you are in public space, the performance is a different zone altogether. You are with public and you're interacting and you're reacting. So I think this, as a performance artist, you should explore both zones. And you know, because as a performance artist, we also like to have this, you know, the lights, limelights, you know. But I think to know more within yourself, I think you have to also be in dark somewhere, you know, to find out the dark areas.
See, as Godwin said, so it's clear there is a private place and public place. In private place, whatever you do, it's a everyday life experience, everything. So you do. But when you are in public space, there will be a frame. For me, yes. As Marina is one of the examples, what we just spoke, the counting the rice. So if I logged you in some room, so do you count it? I don't like boring job when I am in private space. If it is a joyful, definitely I'll do. So if it is a meditation or something, that kind of thing, you do it. If it is healing, you will do it in private place. Otherwise, why do you do that? So that pouring water for 1 hour, from picking water from one point to another point. So if I'm in private place, will I do that? I don't do it. I don't do it.
Why not?
Why should I do it? It's so painful. It's so boring. Why should I do it?
Okay, but Dimple had a very nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Why it's
I also did a boring job, like, you know, as a women, you know, artist, and as a women, you know, we all usually do this boring job all the time, cleaning the vessels.
oh,
And yeah, so the cleansing, the act of cleansing, I feel even sometimes boring job can be kind of cleansing, you know. So I did a performance. It was called stainless steel nirvana. So I was just washing utensils for hours together, and
that's a seminal work, Dimple. I love it.
so I think it is a perspective. I think each artist have the liberty of taking it how they want. It need not be my perspective, because Jitin's perspective might be different, Sridhar's perspective might be different. But it depends person to person. It's very personal. The way artists. That's why we have so many artists, diverse.
Okay. So, Kansi showed you Raghu's work. So we were together, we were staying together only. He did not sleep for 2 days. Okay. So that is the process of performance. That is not in the public. Okay. When we are sleeping, he is still awake. That is the process. The whole idea is till the time you are not in your body comfortable with yourself alone, how can you be comfortable in public? That is how I think. Okay, that is why I feel Raghu's work was very interesting because the whole process of getting into that performative mode is very interesting. Then he went there, he had that sofa and he's just sleeping. And there his idea was to be more awake. But that did not happen because the body gave up and he's sleeping. So that whole process of being awake at night alone is important. So when you do these kind of works, uh, okay, I have an example. So when I was in Singapore, I had sent them a lot of proposals. So there the government goes through it and they rejected many of them. And then I sent them a very shitty proposal. They accepted it. And when I did that work, it was a very, very bad work. And I told the curator, and she also felt that I'm unhappy and all those things. I told it's a horrible work. I did not like it. Then she said, Jitin, we can go back to the apartment where you are staying. Few of us we can be there. You can do your work. So I did a nude work there. And I did. But she was very clear, Jitin, this work cannot go online anywhere in the world. Because if you do that, you will not be allowed in Singapore. I will never be allowed in Singapore. So should I do it? Should I not do it? I did it because I need to satisfy my own self. How can I be okay with the shitty work? Okay, just because a gallery or a government is not allowing me to do a work and I've done a shitty work and I should just satisfy my ego that, okay, I've done a work. That's not true. So I did that work and it was a real good work. But then again, this similar work, same work, I did it in Sri Lanka also. So that process is important. I have to be okay that is it that I'm doing it for fame, for public and all those things. At one level it is, but it will start from me only. It is the body which is going to do things. And if I'm not able to process me in my body in a space, how can I do anything? So the whole idea of doing we have just come now. There have been artists who have done performances where there was no camera or there were nobody to shoot. So you cannot tell them that they were not performance artists or they did not do anything. They did something, we read, they said, some stories came. We are using that. Same way what we are doing, people will talk, say, listen, do something else. That's the idea. So we cannot say that it is only a process for somebody. That's very important for us to understand. People before us who have done it, they have shown you a way. Be yourself and then get into a space and then do things. So that way, I think that is, for me, it is very important. So sometimes I do a work, sometimes I don't even record. If I'm there with a friend and I want to do something, now chalo, you have camera, but you have phone and stuff. If you don't have it, but as an artist, you want to do it, you will do it to experience it. You might bring that experience back to a gallery. So what I did in Singapore in that closed apartment with some of the artists, I brought the same experience to Sri Lanka. Again, statement changes because the space is different, time is different. But it is me who's coming and doing it. That's very important, according to me. That's the thing.
That's a very interesting answer. Yes.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. The time when I went to Israel, I was not aware to the extent to which they were, uh, oppressing the Palestinians. I wasn't aware. This was 2015 because the social media was not so, accessible. And if it was now, I wouldn't be going there. So I just wanted to make it very.
Smitha, would you like to? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I've done durational performance without an audience very much, and I've enjoyed it very much because it was very meditative and it was very self-satisfaction satisfying, and it was done between for about 18 days up in the mountains, and it was in Switzerland. I was lucky where the nature is very gentle, people are very gentle, and everything was just perfect. And I was also lucky that I went through all 4 seasons as well in those 18 days. And every day I would go on these 18 days and spend 6 hours up in the mountains, in the hills. This was in Herzberg. And and the only witness for this was the camera. So it was more a self-documented, performative walk. So I was just walking, doing different gestures, actions, and also just sweeping. So I had somebody who actually saw the video for some time. So you went all the way to Aarau and to Switzerland to sweep. It was a joke. And so it was also that during that period, as I told you, I experienced 4 seasons actually. Yeah, it's 4 seasons because it was in the month of March. And for me, every time in the month of March has been something where I want to sort of give back to my parents because in the month of March, I lost both my parents in that month, in the matter. And the difference of days was 15 days. And so it was like and when I did this performance, it was in 2006. And so it was for me like I was talking with my parents in nature, with nature, and my parents were with me. And the seasons, what I was talking about was like some days it was very cold. It was cool, and I could climb, and there was light breeze. But on as the days advanced, there was one day where there was a very strong wind, as strong as what you experience sometimes in Bangalore. Very strong winds, and up in the higher altitude, it seems very different, right? And then the rain came down, and it was cold rain. It was very, very cold, and along with the cold it started snowing. So for me all these were it, the performance in solitude was more very was like a meditation, was like what do I say understanding oneself better, understanding how much you can take in solitude. So this is one of my experience in terms of duration and without an audience. Of course, at on the last day there was this open studio, and I invited people to just come and see the site. And on the last day, I also offered food under a tree, and it was interesting. Just before the open studio, and it had snowed, so I had actually walked on snow, which was, I mean, I come from South India and I'm not experienced to snow, so I had snow almost like up to here. So it was something really wonderful that I'm really grateful that I experienced all the seasons. And in terms of collaboration, I just want to take over your space. Sorry. I would like to say that I'm very fond of doing non-human collaborations. So I've sort of collaborated with my pet rabbit, I've collaborated with snails, and in this particular space, I think there was a fox. So yeah, I'll take over the floor. Thanks. Thank you.
To continue with my experience for the same question. So this is my very recent experience. Just yesterday, I started on the collective performance. No, so I closed my eyes and explored this place. That has become a private place for me because I did not care for any audience, because I was experiencing the texture and space I have seen. But when I closed my eyes completely, just I forgot about the audience. Okay, I started enjoying that. If it is a joyful, definitely you can do it in private place.
Had a question. Yeah, so how does when does performance change? Because I think Jolad was also talking about this importance of audience being there, because there are challenges, but also they add to the whole experience of the performance. That's why you said you are very particular about doing public performances. Um, how does the public sort of interact with you? How much of the performance is also them being there and them performing along with you? Is the public also performing along with you? I think in some cases today, even with Godwin sir's some of the examples, the public seems to have been not they crossed the line of the spectator and they're in the performance space. They are also performing at that rate.
Yesterday in my performance, when I was taking the water from there to, suddenly one girl came over there to help me then. So it reaches her. That's why she must have felt the pain, that one. So that's why she came forward to help me then. See, this is how it's happened with our performance art. And another one beautiful example I will tell you. Once it is in 17 or 18, I think so. I was working on the urinals. The people public do the urinals on the roadside. So I made a one big bigger urinals, the 3 feet height it one. And deliberately I collected the photos where the people are urinating the outside. I took the photographs and pasted on that one. So I was crossing through the city. So I earlier I was there in Shivaji Nagar. One auto guy. Hey, what is it? ಏನಿದು ನಿಲ್ಸು. So he was also in a hurry. He was not. What is it? He doesn't have a time to listen to me then. Then I started telling, okay, okay, okay. Then he passed away. Thus, again, I continued to till the MG Road. The same fellow met me there. Then he caught me there. Oh, now you tell me what is this one. So I started explaining. So he gave us such a beautiful answer. He said, ask the government to build a what's that toilets after every 50 meters. Why the public do in the public, like, means he was putting the question to me. So means it reaches now. So I'm very happy. It's okay. My concept reached the public then. So this is how we get the answer from the audience. So he was questioning the government. Oh, but he was very rash actually. I got stumped then. So ask the government to make up the toilets after every 50 meters like that. So another thing, and when I was doing in Bangalore, it was about the farmers. No farmers, no food. So I was crossing through one street. All of a sudden, one lady stopped me there. He said, she's also started scolding me like that. Then what's happening with me? Then I said, see, the people are those who are working in the IT field and all. They're telling, I'm earning lakhs together and all. And when they go to go to purchase the vegetable and all, they start bargaining that. What's the nonsense it is? Then? So, so this is how the public react with us. There are many things out there.
Like you are creating this space for dialogue also, no?
Huh.
You are inviting people immediately when you perform. They think that they can come and they can ask questions. They can, like, interact with you. Show, but they're vulnerable enough to show their real reaction.
No, actually,
Uh,
that our words should welcome
pull
them
them
like
in.
that.
Yeah.
Now, purposely we are not calling them to help or something like that. If they feel it, then only come forward. Then only they started interact with us overall.
Even what you did at, I think, Doddagubbey Lake,
Huh.
the reaction was, like immediately they get attracted to, the kind of stuff you are doing. And I wanted to ask, like, what happened to the letters? Was there any
No, I didn't get
feedback?
any answer for that. Just I posted it.
You posted it.
Yeah, that's all.
Hopefully they gave it to
Uh,
the.
the postcard was, many times I use the postcard concept,
Yes.
but I never get the answer.
At least they would have got bombarded with like so many
Maybe.
postcards. Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to add something to it. So we have to understand you are getting into a space, it is their space. Okay. They are the witness first. We take everybody as audience. Nobody is audience. This is audience because they have come for a show or they have come for something. So that is the audience. When you're doing it in a public space, firstly, they are witness. They're just witnessing your work. Some of them will just give a glance and go away. Some of them will not even do that. Then they become spectator because something has clicked with them into their memory and then they become a spectator. Then they become audience because they want to come into it. What is happening? How is it happening? They come forward. Then they become collaborator. Okay, this is a process of a witness becoming a collaborator. That might happen in 5 minutes. That might not happen in 5 minutes. So, but you have to be aware that I cannot be accountable of all the witnesses there. There will be some will they'll just go. But now, what is changing in this world, which we have to be very aware, and when we are talking about audience and all these things, if I put a photograph here, let's say I had taken a photograph a long time back in Sri Lanka where there was a tank going on a truck. So and behind it was a shop, toy shop called Racing in the Race, something like that. So I used that photograph as a projected image and then I did a performance in front of it. Okay. So I'm creating my spaces like that. Now, when you're moving forward with technology, we have to understand phone is coming, internet is there. Lot of these things will start. Your audience is going to increase even more whether you want or not. Now, let's say when we are doing a performance here, if I'm doing something, people don't like it or something is happening, I can have a conversation. As soon as you're doing it live stream, there's 1,000 people saying comments to you. You cannot do anything to them. You have to understand how the technology is taking over your personal space. As an artist, I am getting into a public space doing my work thinking it is mine without having the idea. I have to be sensible enough to do those things. Then I have to be very aware that whoever is there with the camera is going to put it online and going to get likes or whatever it is. So we are actually dealing in a time where it's a constant interaction between you. According to me, nowadays the audience is not the audience. They are already a collaborator because as soon as you're doing something, they are recording you and they are directly live streaming it. So they are your collaborator.
Would you call that collaboration really just the act of documentation itself?
It is not act of documentation. That is a
Huh.
very intellectual word.
Huh.
For them, it is not act of documentation. It
Huh.
is excitement.
Excitement. Is excitement equal to participation?
It is because they are holding that space for you to do it. They are doing it. They are putting it somewhere forward. What I'm trying to tell you is whether you want or not, they are already in your work, or they have already
I
made your
get it. I
work
get it.
a bigger, larger canvas that you can even think of.
They're collaborating in the sense of spreading your work.
You can say that.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
They have become a medium rather than an audience,
Yeah.
because then the audience is online sitting somewhere else
Yeah.
doing something and then looking at your work. So that becomes our audience, and you're not even there to explain. It's a very half knowledge thing. Somebody would just take 15-second clip of yours and put it. What and how does, so there's a very good example from Sri Lanka only. Janani did a work. Somebody took it and they made a meme, and then she became a meme artist also. So that is also there. We have to be aware of these things happening, so that you can control it in a closed space. But outside, that is what is on the audience. That's there.
I want to add back to the ground with the space itself. I think Baswangudi project had a lot of such volunteer collaboration, and they also overtook the space. And sometimes we were all standing, Jitin, and there was one old senior citizen who came and he took the stage for 15 minutes or 10 minutes or something, and he was saying, narrating the poetry, and we were just witnessing, and then he explained that also what that poem meant in today's context. And I think that time some elections were coming, and then he was saying that you should be aware whom you're electing it, you're selecting it, and he was having this voice. So this close interaction can happen. And even Mamta Sagar was part of this whole Basangudi project. She did one poetry session. I think a lot of people just voluntarily participated in reading her poems, and so I think this participation is always open. When you go to, especially in India.
Yeah.
But I think the public participation in Europe is very different.
They're much more used to,
Yeah, so sometimes you will see they are not even reacting. You're just performing, and there are a lot of people, but you're just performing, but nobody's seeing you. It can happen.
It is out of respect also, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to be very clear about, inviting them, to kind of become part of this thing.
Yeah,
But here you don't need to invite, I think. In India, you don't have to invite.
Yeah, so I think it's also curiosity in Indian audience. Just like Jitin said, when you just switch on the camera, they'll be really curious what some shooting is going on. We remember, when we had live art 2011, Double Road was so much crowded. It was very difficult, for us to control the crowd, because people thought some film shooting is happening on the road. And it was so you can experience very different audience in different spaces,
Places, yeah.
and also reactions. I remember Smitha's performance in Borella Market, and that lady was really very badly shouting, and we were like, we didn't know what to do, because Smitha can't speak, and we as an audience we cannot interrupt, but she was just going on, so you can experience such audience also.
It's wonderful, like how you said in Baswangudi, uh, the audience felt like, it's like you opened up this space for everyone to express. Maybe it was not very comfortable that, they were hogging the space. Did it happen like that at
No,
one point, or?
so actually Baswangudi went on for 3 months, and that's why I also want to stress on point that Borella Market should, you should have live performance even in the same spot, because people become more aware. So this senior citizens, they came morning because the platform was open for whole day. So they inquired, and then okay, ಆಮೇಲೆ 4 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾ, okay ಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಆವಾಗ participate ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So it was like that. So they the 3 months they became like quite close, like,
Okay.
and then they were asking when is the next date you're performing, when you're bringing some events. So they also get used to it if you do it a performance in the same spots every
Mm.
time. And also if you want to experiment in different experiencing different audience,
Yes.
then we can explore different sites. So there are a lot of possibilities. It's unlimited, what kind of audience you'll encounter. It's a like
We
an
cannot tell.
surprise. It's always a surprise.
Danya, can I add something? Can I add something? Yeah, it's with respect to, like when using that familiar space and you have an audience, but actually looking forward to what's going to happen next. It's one of the best examples is under the flyover in Coxtown because Dimple performed, and then every month there would be a performance. So the vendors over there, they would actually ask, so when is the next performance? And the residents there, they would say, oh, it's so nice. The place gets cleaned up and we see some nice work happening here. I know that's something very positive that we all hear from, and we think, okay, in some way, people are attentive about public space and public artworks there. And also with respect to we were talking about cameras coming in the space and bringing in awareness in the public space that there's a performance happening, right? But not necessarily, because at one time, this was again quite very early. It was around 2003 when I did in a public space, like in a gas station in at the Brigade near Brigade Road. I mean, there was no camera. I was just standing there with a mask. When I say mask, it was more like with a mosquito, I mean, a transparent material with dark glasses. And I was stand with the mask-like form had stones underneath. It was more a conversation around pollution. So I had these auto rickshaw drivers just passing by, stopping their vehicle. There were no cameras, nothing, but they were just curious to know what I was doing in that site, in that place. So what I'm trying to say is also the site matters. You do not have to say anything, not make it loud. Because I was wearing my regular jeans and a simple shirt, but just the mask that drew the attention, and the auto drivers got so curious to know as to what it was. And of course I was not talking as always, and because it was covered, and I had my housekeeper who would actually say, I had actually told her a few words that this is to do with pollution, and if they ask you something else, you just tell them gotilla, I do not know. So it worked very well. And then also they were asking as to where they can buy the mask. And and it's strange that finally in 2020 COVID happened. So that was something that I wanted to share.
Yeah, I have three different experiences. So the recent experience was of the bamboo one that I had to invite. Okay, so once they are into, I mean, once they become a collaborator, they started enjoying. They become a collaborator. But the initial stage, so we have to give us some direction. So unless until you give some direction, so they just remain as a spectator. That's all. And in another experience is that in Kolkata, so what I did is I just, I mean, I wanted to drown in the this bricks. So I started constructing the bricks around me. Initially, so I mean, only few started, I mean, helping me. They supported. Then later, everyone, I mean, they were very curious and they come and supported me. They are completely they covered with the bricks. Okay, so the curiosity has become a kind of side there.
There is also a sense of play, no? I mean,
Yeah. So
adults don't really get a chance to, engage in something like this.
yeah.
It's like building blocks.
So another experience is without consent, as I forced the audience to be part of my work in Kirki village. Smitha is curator again. Then in in Kirki Masjid. So I am bound all the audience to that pillar. So after that, everyone, I mean, excited, and they came to me and shared their experiences, everything. But sometimes you have to give a direction to execute your ideas.
And Monica, like probably it's a good time to ask you to share a little bit about running Equinox and how you know
So Equinox is it's a worldwide event that happens during the equinox day twice a year. It's in March and September. It was started by Champon, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Champon Apisuk, Indonesian artist, a very renowned artist. He started it, I think, in 2014 or something with all the artists who had come for a festival. So that was taken by the German artist Marita Bullman, and they're a collective. So they took it up, and then they started having this event where they got in touch with all the artists across the globe. That for one day, it's voluntary. People can come, just get in touch with the person who is organizing it for that place and come and take part in the performance. It's a solidarity thing. It's more of the democracy. It's about democratic spaces. I could just read it out. Yeah. So the note for it is Day of Public Action for Freedom and Democracy, Equinox, worldwide performance by artists working together in public spaces to mark the March or September equinox as a celebration for freedom and democracy. As more and more countries are experiencing social unrest due to the rise of governmental cutbacks on civil liberties, environmental issues, women's rights, migration, slavery, etc., every continent is experiencing some form of repression of civil liberties, be they individual, social, economic, political, religious, cultural, or environmental. These rights are at the forefront to what makes us human and civil society. We understand that freedom comes with responsibility, not irresponsibility. The license to do as one wants, but responsibility because it comes from our ability to respond, that this is what makes us truly human. In 2017, Champa Napisuk proposed a day of public action as a follow on to same difference equinox to equinox, which was September 2016, which had 283 artists from across the world, 45 locations in 29 countries, working together in public spaces. It is the day that all states must recognize and allow actions from the people which are peaceful and non-violent. This day of action can be with or without context, but for the recognition of all people's rights to share the public space together in solidarity with each other, in respect of each other's rights to share the same public space as well as the time. In light of recent worldwide developments, the importance of universal suffrage comes to the fore, and to show a solidarity and support for these struggles worldwide. So this is the note they have.
so did you have people who are not performance artists or not even anyone to do with the visual arts coming
Who
to
came for
perform?
it? Has mostly been performance artists who have come for it, and we have it we it takes place in Cubbon Park, which is more of a, I would look at it as a, you know demo, democratic place, which it isn't, but still. So yeah, we've had one musician come and take part 2 3 years back, and we've had to deal with the security time and again as well. Like, they don't want it to, I think there were these events that where they had these wedding photography, because of which there was a lot of damage to the space around, and then they put an end to it. So they were, at one point they were checking our bags if we had cameras, those large DSLRs and all of that. So then we started capturing it with our phones itself. They can't do anything about that. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's every time we go there, every time we go, but we are always aware of this security guard because he'll have his strange questions and
Especially she gets into trouble all the time because she comes with so many of the
material
props.
props. So then they'll ask me, you can't take this and you can't do this, and so it's always a issue. Um, And also, I think it's over the years they have become more strict day and day, because I don't know, because of so many other problems they have faced or whatever.
So it's not an event that, where we self promote as an individual artist. It is something where the artists come together in collaboration and in solidarity. So it has to be a collective, it's more like an open session, collective
Everyone kind
work.
of working together.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just celebrating World Performance Day for, for the performance. Day is for the performance. That's it.
Um, so I think quite a lot of the artists mentioned that when they came to Bangalore this many years ago, and how Bangalore has become their home now, and how they look at this city, and quite a lot of the art. I think all artists. I mean, we don't really teach performance art, right? So everyone's studied something else, and then chosen to perform. uh, why did you gravitate towards this? What pulled you towards performance art? I think Bhagyalakshmi is like the newest entry into this form. So I'm very curious to know what attracts you to this form. What made you feel like you wanted to do this?
Actually, basically, I'm traditional artist. I'm not connected with modern art. But as I just seen the poster in NGMA related, Smitha was doing some tree thing. I thought it is something bonsai, so I want to learn something bonsai related thing. Then when I came here, it was like question mark for 2 days for me. What is live art performance? Then at the second day, they made us to perform. Then Parmesh sir, I think he mentioned it is not a performance art. Then the question started inside me. What is performance art? Then I went back and searched in a YouTube. There I seen Marina, that lady. So that time I understand that yes, I was 20 years back. I I I was eager to learn that kind of art. So then immediately I got connected, as I'm not only connect from the traditional art background, but I'm also Vedic astrologer. For me, depicting things in my own way and going in performance art in a spiritual way, it is helping me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wonderful.
so depict the things with the materials, whatever I'm using, connected with astrology, all these things I'm adding. And the moment I start, it's for me, it's kind of a dealing with the energies.
Okay.
So for me, I'm more connected and dragging into this
Okay.
art.
Okay. Wonderful. And to Seema, can we pass the mic? Seema comes from printmaking, and she's a very good printmaker too. Very skilled. Uh, and I was very surprised when I heard that Seema has been performing when I first met her. I think Yugashree's studio. Um, so what pulled you towards performance, Seema? And even today, I think I saw you were there was a very intense emotional reaction, like when as you had finished the performance. I saw that it was like some sort of release for you. Tell tell us about this.
So first performance when I have done at Yugashri's place, Aspada, it was just a just an accident that I said yes for the performance because I always wanted to work on my stage fear problem. So I thought, okay, let me try this. Maybe this is the medium that I wanted since very long time to speak in the public spaces. So when I tried and I felt that it is something which reflects our emotion very directly. Like it is very spontaneous. And after I felt like I should do this like I should do this regular basis. Like I should join the performance group or something. So whenever I get a chance, I try to connect more with myself, and I found myself doing the things that I can't do openly. Like it makes me to do, it makes me to go in such a flow of spontaneity that I forget everything about, and I actually forget. I actually worked on my stage fear thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful thing you mentioned, Seema, that what you can't do elsewhere, you can do in performance, right? Yeah. And Saloni also. Saloni, again, like you, you you come from a completely different background into arts, and then you choose to become a performance artist. So it's a wonderful story. Tell us about this. Yes.
So even my journey started with Smitha ma'am uh, through a workshop, and performance art to me is literally a natural extension of myself, how I survive and how I see the world and how I feel. So when I do that, I'm completely lost, and it unpacks many layers within me. So I love my own company a lot. So when I'm doing that, I'm even going deeper within myself. So it just takes me to a very different level. And also when we are doing in a public space like we do at Rangoli, so I'm very curious person, okay? Whenever I meet a new person, I want to know about them. And when I do this live art performance, I'm not able to use verbally. I'm not able to interact with them, right? But through my actions or uh, whatever my performance, when I see their reactions, that is also another kind of communication that I'm having with them. So I get to experience that also. So this is again something just literally my natural extension of me. So that's why that keeps me attracted
I
towards
mean,
this
it's
thing.
that inviting, I think. No, Smita has made sure that anyone is welcome and they can perform. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we still have time, or we have time? Okay. Um, so couple of more questions probably. So how does it feel to do collective performances? You were speaking about, Equinox, how it is a platform where everyone is performing together. Even the last few days, there were some performances. I think today everyone chose to do it in isolation. But last 2 days, there was a lot of interactive collective performances, especially between Joled and Sridhar. There is always some play tug of war happening, which is very interesting to watch. So how is it different? What happens, during collective performances?
Definitely, it makes a difference because when we do solo show, it is ours. So when I'm collaborating with other person, see, actually, I doesn't know what he is going to do. He doesn't know what I am going to do. So again, we have to connect to each other to react in the way. It is like see, I'm starting telling some stories and stopping it, and he's continuing it. It's like that only. So I was just to thinking what he's going to do and how to I should react to him. So spontaneously it is. Purposely it will not come. So actually it was looking like a fighting only. Then he was telling later on what how rubbishly you are making. So deliberately it will not happen. But it was like protecting myself whenever he is forcing. So in that way, the reaction was going there. But it's nicely enjoyed. But it's a challenge also now. So
To perform
to
with
connect with other people,
yes.
others' thought.
Mm. Who chose the rope? Monica chose the rope, or like Jitin? Okay. So I saw a lot of people getting tied up. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was no thought behind it. I just saw things there. I asked Smita if I can take it because it was the residue of her performance. So, and I liked it, so I thought I can do something with that. That's how I started. But coming back to the question about the collective, when you're doing it as a collective, it's a shared responsibility. It's a shared love. Somehow you know that, okay, I'm doing this, there is somebody there. So there, and there is a huge bond that comes up. and that shared space. Now, so the energy goes high, and then and those times, if you're doing it for a longer thing, and people artists are staying together also, then automatically they will start collaborating because the idea turns into each other's mind directly, and then you start doing. So many a times in the collective like this, or you're doing a group performances like this for a durational thing. So many a times artists, it has happened with me also. I wouldn't have gone with an idea, or my idea will be totally different. But when you start talking to the other person, it might be totally from somewhere else, but you resonate. And as you resonate, you collaborate. That's the essence of collectives. You resonate with certain people and you start collaborating, and then it becomes a total different thing. That I feel is the beauty of and again, performance art is a very small community now also. We have to work together. It's important to support each other and then do things. So I know that if I'm doing something, there is somebody always there. That shared responsibility is always there with everybody. The one thing is you really do not know what the artist is actually going to do, because the artist would have told you a abstract idea. This is will happen. Suddenly they'll start improvising. Things will change. So it is so I'm as in the collective also, I'm very curious also how this personality, and by the end of those groups now, like after when you work with them quite a lot, you understand that this personality is going to do something. So you are kind of there helping them, but you assume that yes, things are going to evolve.
Yeah.
So that understanding also comes up.
Does it take the sort of pressure off, you know, the performing, like to do a collective performance? Is it easier?
Collective performance is always it is dealing with the object, not living and non-living, and it is it's always it will be challenging because spontaneously you need to understand. So who is in front of you? What is either it is an object or a human being? Just you should understand. So you should try to interact, and you should react to them. We don't know the next step, what step he might take. Interacting with a stone or any other object and interacting with the another human is totally different thing. I mean, so for my personal experience, we both were, I mean, very long time we were doing that. This you can't predict what his next move. Okay, but you should be ready to, I mean, interact with him. Just to you should build some relation with him. So it will be challenging. It is not that easy.
Can I add something? So I feel collaborative is something like if I throw a ball, now it is a our it revolves between us and we have not to let it go. So the I might throw to him or you, or it is your responsibility, the other person, that you pick it up and then continue the game, and the game has to go on. So it is something like that, it's a action and reaction, and very conscious of the surrounding, because unless you have an eye contact with your co-performers, you don't know what to do. It's very difficult because you should have the kind of a temporal kind of relationship which is going on at that moment.
Danya, can I
Object.
interrupt? Uh, this is a question. I just want Jitin to talk about his performance with the Pakistani artist. You remember? Putting the hands, because that image is very powerful, and of course, it's very political also if you look at it. So just elaborate on that.
Yeah. So again, when I went to Sri Lanka, there was some idea that I wanted to do. But then when we started talking, so my parents come from Pakistan. They came here in 47. And that lady's parent were like grandparents, parents were from India. They went to Pakistan. So we were talking, and then we are going around near Tirtha. There was this building. There was not a building, it was a platform which had pillars coming up. So then we just wanted to interact with the pillar. So there is a game in Punjabi which is everybody plays, like you join hands like this and then you roll around. So in Punjabi we call it as kilkari. Yes, so you cross your hand with the other person and you run like you go swirl around.
As kids, we walk
Yeah, yeah,
like Ringa Ringa Roses.
yes,
Okay.
something like that. So that is in Punjabi it is called as kilkari. So I wanted to freeze that moment. So my whole idea was to freeze the moment, elaborate the time. So we stood on to the pillar that was like, I guess, 10, 12 feet high, and it was just this much only, 1.5 feet by 1 feet, something like that. And we are holding each other's hand and we are just stretching and we are just talking and in a way kind of flirting or whatever it is. So it's very interesting because two political this thing is coming onto a middle ground that is Sri Lanka and kind of in a way flirting or talking to each other and just holding. So both of us, it created a tension, that pause, because you are just supported by this hand.
Other person, yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And if you slip, you fall down. So I remember there was some other artists also, like there were people from Tirtha and other artists also who were standing there that if something happens, if somebody falls, they'll be able to hold or things like that. So that is what I said. It's a very interesting thing when you start talking to people and it becomes very human and your concepts or your issues become similar and then you interact and then you do it like that. So that was a very, very good work. I loved that work. That's what Conce said
Also,
that I
the
was with the,
statues, on a pedestal.
yes, with
I
the
mean, for
Pakistani artist.
instead of all our army statues, this is a statue of
Yeah.
two lovers, I guess.
Yeah. So the whole idea was to just freeze that moment of
Yeah.
happiness or that dance that
Yes.
generally they do it in marriages and stuff. It's very common in North India. Yeah. And then they go around. So that was the idea.
And also, like, bodily, how you are kind of holding each other together. That act, you let go, she falls, or
Exactly.
she lets go, you fall.
Yes.
So there is this
And then,
continuous.
yes.
Yeah.
And then we are just talking. Nobody knows what we spoke.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say what we spoke, but we
But
just
then,
spoke.
but sir had some assumptions.
Yeah, so we just kept talking. But yeah, that's the interesting point.
That's beautiful, actually. Yeah. Also, the history behind, where you come from and where she comes from,
And we are meeting in Sri Lanka.
yeah,
I cannot go to my native that is there
and
in
do
Pakistan,
this.
and that's where I don't have a native. I'm displaced.
Yeah, yeah.
And same way with her also. That's the idea. Yeah.
Anyone else would like to add uh, anything more about collaborative performances? Collaborating with another artist for a particular performance. Or else I would like to ask Godwin sir about, yeah, he's here. If you have the time, then, sir, could you talk a little bit about, the act of performance as healing, because you're also a doctor, you're a cardiologist. How do you look at this process uh, as a form of healing?
So, performance actually it's a part of catharsis. So you release energy, you release negative energy, and you try to sort of come to terms with your whatever the ailment or illness that you have. You can come to terms. So far, to my knowledge, a performance art has not been used as a therapy, though there is art therapy, dance therapy, music therapy. Performance art has not been used in a technical sense as therapy. But I think beyond art and music and dancing, performance art has all these elements together. So it will be a more powerful therapeutic approach than using music alone or dance alone. So somebody will have to sort of explore that possibility. Definitely for a performer, it's a sort of a process of catharsis, and you release energy and you release your this thing and you come to terms with the environment and the time, like. So that is a process of healing as far as even the participants also will feel the same. So there is a process, like I would see that, but it has not been documented or studied so far in any detail, because it's performance art as such is an evolving field, and also, for example, this collaborative performances, I would see that as a sort of a play rather than the performance, because the thing is, it is a play between two adults. They are not allowed to play like children, so they are playing like adults. Like that is a play. Like so, you interact and you reciprocate with the other person. Like so, there is no sort of it's slightly different from what we call the pure performance art as such. So that is also has a healing process, because you become a childhood sort of play that you are enacting again, like so in adult. So we always like to go back to our childhood. But one comment I forgot to mention, when this that Pakistani girl and the Jitin was there, whole lot of people went to hold Pakistani girl. They were so I and one or two people only were there to.
Oh, yeah, Jitin's not popular.
Uh,
If I can add something to what Kansi said, see the whole idea, we have to understand how do you read a visual. You are reading a visual through your subconscious memory only. Your subconscious memory has database of what you have read, whatever it is, and it has a lot of database of what you have gone through emotionally. So how do you read an image? It transcend transmission to your neurons, and then it goes there, and then it creates vibration and stuff. So when you are doing that, every act that you're doing where you're changing the functionality of an object or functionality of a space, it is going to create a disturbance in the neurosystems. And that is how somebody is going to remember your work, because their memory shows that. I was telling it to somebody. So I'd done a performance in Sri Lanka and in Singapore also, where I combed my hair, and then I'm sitting and asking people to iron them with the iron box. Okay, so iron box is used as a thing to create a crease, discipline. And this was the performance I did in Singapore to go against the government, because I was so angry on my own self that I'd done a shitty work. So I wanted to do this work. So I did this work there. And then when people are doing this, they have become collaborator and they are going to take over it. So when they are trying to burn the hair, at one point in time, because I'm looking into their eyes, they lose it and they keep it on the body. Yes, so it burns. Okay. So when that is happening, what is happening? I am actually going through a catharsis, as he said. They are also going through catharsis because in their memory, lot of things are getting connected, released. So it's all a subconscious image making process. So you're creating a bug into their subconscious neurosystem, where how it is rewiring or firing, it creates a bug that, okay, this is something different. I don't have a database for it. That is how the imagery is read. And performance art, as he said, has a lot of thing, because you're bringing all the sensory stuff, and then you're creating a situation for a person to be in it. So they are going to read it from that. And then when I did the same work in Sri Lanka, people were crying. And then people came and told me that, oh, iron box was used in Sri Lanka to torture people. Then there were some these Iranian artists, they started crying, and so all those things happened. Why that is happening? Because it is read by not the conscious adult. It is being read by the subconscious memory, and that is where the catharsis is going to happen. That's the whole idea. I guess we should tell them to ask some questions. There are these kids; they are just sitting there. They should ask these some questions.
I have a question for Vignesh also. Um, uh, do you gravitate towards, you know, public spaces, especially natural public spaces? What is your connection with nature? Actually, the same question I want to ask Umesh sir also afterwards. But yes, because I really felt your performance was poignant, especially the use of hair um, and the stitching of the leaves onto your own clothes and also onto others. And looks like you've done a lot more, in spaces, natural spaces. Yes.
Uh,
Actually, yeah, like, it depends on the space itself. The space invites, like, I did not think of many things. I thought, actually, like, I designed the performance in a very different manner altogether. So in the morning, while coming, like, I washed my hair immediately, and I was combing, and like, that's the moment, like, I thought, like, maybe I could use that, and I kept the comb in my pocket, and there were some hairs, like, kept in another pocket. Then I came here, and, like, I thought, while coming in the auto, like, I decided, okay, this is what I can, do. And long ago, like, I also, whenever um, when I'm alone, like, whatever the ideas I come up with, I have a note, so I keep writing them. All right, so I write it them, and you never know, like, because I keep revisiting them, the notes, and I get ideas, and then later I develop them. So majorly that's what happens. And also, as I said about the space, when the space has everything, like, the eco, my work, this work was ecocentric work in a way, right? And I didn't have to use any other material, and the space has its own material there, and which I was also carrying on my own body, like hair and the leaf. So yeah, in this is what, and also, like, most of my ecocentric works also depends on the space itself, like, how whatever the found objects I get there on the site itself. So it becomes more profound as material to view the whole, tailor the whole performance on spot. Yeah, and it's very spontaneous, which happens. And
You got the needle with you.
yeah, I got the needle with me. Yes.
Okay, I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah.
And very interesting to see how, the hair is very different from thread. It doesn't function the same way. Must have been like it's quite a
Yeah,
sort of
it was struggling to, like, thread in
yeah.
the hair.
But it was wonderful to see that, and I've still there is a lot of poetics to the whole, the materiality and everything. I'm still thinking a lot about that. Yeah. And Umesh sir, yeah, could you say a little bit about your connection with nature and how nature becomes, a big part of your performance?
Actually, I already in my presentation I already told that I belong from a rural area. It's village area. There's a huge number of forest and near the seashore areas. So जब मैं फिर दिल्ली गया, दिल्ली में बहुत सारे जो अर्बन ग्रोथ है, वो उस स्पेस को मैं वहाँ पे लेक कर रहा था, मतलब अपने आप को फील कर रहा था कि ये बहुत दूर हुआ है मेरे से, जो कि मैं होल लाइफ चाइल्डहुड से लेकर बड़े होने तक जब तक मेरे फुल कॉन्शियसनेस है तो पूरा ग्रीनरी में गुजरा है। तो बाद में जब फिर दिल्ली पहुंचता हूँ तो ग्रीनरी को उस लेवल पे ग्रीनरी नहीं फील हो पाता जितना होना चाहिए। तो ये एक माइंड में चल रहा है। एक तो ये एक सब्जेक्ट मेरे अंदर चलता रहा है, लेकिन उसको कैसे अ, आगे लाना है, कैसे मैं उस चीज़ को एक एक लैंग्वेज की तरह से लाऊं। परफॉर्मेंस उसी उस तरह से आया है। सेम इज माय माय फैमिली आल्सो, माय फादर एंड माय चाचा इज कॉल्ड uncle also related to the theatrical area. My father had run a theater troupe. He was the manager of this troupe. मैं जब बचपन से जब उनको असिस्ट वो मुझे असिस्ट के लिए बोलते थे कि आई हैव टू रीड द स्क्रिप्ट repeatedly because those who are performing they are illiterate person, because the local farmers are the performing there. This is totally mythological stories related to the mythology. Oh, Sanskrit, sometimes it's Sanskrit language, sometimes it's a typical Odia language also there. So I have to repeatedly read this script. So the character continuously built up in my mind, because the repeatedly script they learn that listen this script, then under then उसको वो प्रेजेंट में रखते थे, क्योंकि वो बार बार सुनते थे, याद रखते थे, फिर बोलते थे स्टेज पे। तो ये मेरा साथ में रहा कि कैसे मैं भी उसी तरह से देखता था कैसे वो परफॉर्मेंस कर रहे हैं। तो वो चाइल्डहुड से मेरे था। उसके साथ एक और इंटरेस्टिंग बात हुई। मेरे फादर के एक फ्रेंड थे जो सेम एज के ही फ्रेंड रहे हैं उनके साथ। ही इज बिलोंग फ्रॉम अछूत फैमिली, मीन्स untouchability family, and he also a transgender person. लेकिन उनके साथ एक इंटरेस्टिंग बात हुई, कभी उन्होंने पढ़ने के लिए मौका नहीं मिला, क्योंकि मैं बता रहा हूँ अब 1970 60 के टाइम की बात। ऐसे कोई उस इलाके में जहाँ पे मेरे गांव है, उस इलाके में ऐसे कोई जो इस तरह से कम्युनिटी के बिलोंग करते, वो पढ़ाई के लिए कोई उनको कोई चांस नहीं हुआ करता था, तो उन्होंने पढ़ा नहीं है। लेकिन मेरे जो ग्रैंडफादर थे, ऑलवेज ही ऑल्सो प्रीस्ट, तो वो कहीं कहीं भागवत कथाएं, पुराण कथा, वो सब पढ़ने जाते थे। तो मैं फादर के फ्रेंड के वजह से, चाइल्डहुड फ्रेंड के वजह से, वो साइड में कहीं इधर उधर खड़े रह के वो सारे स्टोरी सुनते थे। तो ही स्टार्टेड सोलो परफॉर्मेंस कॉल्ड बहुरूपी। तो होल लाइफ उन्होंने यही किया। बहुत सारे स्ट्रगल्स उन्होंने फेस किया। जब टेलीविजन आया तो वो उन्होंने बहुत सारे उस एज ए प्रोफेशनली ही adapted बहुरूपी performance. It's a only solo performance. He multiple characters. At a time, who multiple characters
From
he did.
mythology stories.
Mythology on social also. So
Okay.
daytime he did social characters like doctor, like police.
Very interesting.
Yes. Sometimes for funny happenings, like just like चुड़ैल जैसा कोई आके बैठ गया तो बच्चे आके घेरने लगे हैं। There is no reaction, बस sitting there. और जो बच्चे, छोटे छोटे बच्चे थे, वो how to react. I also the same part of this activities. तो ये मेरे से बहुत ज़्यादा अंदर रहा है। और वो बहुत सीरियसली लास्ट टाइम तक वो बहुत प्रॉब्लम में, कैंसर हो गया, उनको कोई सपोर्ट नहीं हुआ ड्यू टू ट्रांसजेंडर, नोबडी हेल्प हिम। So nobody also there with him, no family members also there. So बहुत प्रॉब्लम हुआ उनको। तो मुझे भी एक माइंड में वो चलता रहा कि मैं शायद इसी तरह से मेरे अंदर वो सारे जो आए ना, एक मेमोरी डेवलप होके रही है। तो जब मैं 2002 में मेरा मास्टर फिनिश हुआ इन दिल्ली में, तो मैं मैक्सिमम टाइम ट्रैवल करता रहता हूँ, ऐसे ही चलता रहूँ, ओपन स्ट्रीट में, स्पेस में, रूरल एरिया में, कहीं जंगल में चला गया, ऐसे घूमता रहता था। तो एक जगह पे मैंने देखा जो न्यू रोड्स डेवलप होते हैं, तो साइड में जितने भी अच्छे ट्री हैं वो सब कट डाउन हो जाते हैं। फिर उसके बाद कहीं जाके जो नगर निगम वगैरह होता है वहाँ कहीं डंप कर देते हैं। तो मैं एक बार ऐसे ही जा रहा था तो देखा बहुत सारे कटिंग ट्रीज डंप देयर। तो मुझे लगा कि ऐसा इतने बड़े बड़े ट्रीज हैं, जिसमें लास्ट फोटोग्राफ्स में देखा होगा जो ड्राइंग्स था जिसमें मैं एक न्यू फॉर्म था।
Yes.
दिस इज ए रियल फोटोग्राफ ट्रांसफर इनटू ड्राइंग। तो
Okay.
मैंने
Well,
वहाँ पे
inside that.
होल डे में जस्ट मैं उसको जस्ट ऑब्जर्व दैट, आल्सो रिएक्ट दैट, क्योंकि मैं उस टाइम मैं भी लग रहा था कि मैं कट गया हूँ क्या। मुझे ऐसा ही फील हुआ कि शायद मैं ऐसे ही कटा पड़ा हुआ हूँ। तो मैं ऐसे ही उनके साथ घूमता रहा, अंदर घुस गया था, जा रहा था, आ रहा था। तो उसी टाइम मेरे साथ एक फ्रेंड आए थे मुंबई से जो फोटोग्राफर थे, तो मैं उनको घुमा ही रहा था जनरली कि ये एरिया चलते हैं, घूमते हैं। तो उसी टाइम उन्होंने कुछ फोटोग्राफ्स लिया था, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 10-15 फोटोग्राफ था। तो वो पब्लिक प्लेस भी था जहाँ पर बहुत सारे वर्कर्स, जो ट्रैक्टर्स थे, जहाँ पर सारे डंप हो रहे थे, सारे ट्री, कटिंग ट्रीज। कुछ ऐसे लेबर्स थे जो ट्री को असेंबल कर रहे थे, और कुछ ऐसे लोग थे जो ट्री का मार्किंग कर रहे थे, उसमें सारे नंबर्स डाल रहे थे। वो सब थे, सब लोग थे वहाँ पर। लेकिन मैं भी ऐसे घूम रहा था। तो वो लोग देखते रहे क्या हो रहा क्या नहीं, कुछ कुछ पूछा नहीं, कोई रिएक्शन नहीं दे रहे थे, उसे भी कुछ नहीं। तो बाद में फिर मेरे फ्रेंड ने बोला कि आप, मतलब उनसे बात कर रहा था, मैं तो कर रहा था, तो वो लोग ऐसे कह रहे थे ये क्या हो रहा है, कुछ हो रहा है। बाद में एक पर्सन जो था थोड़ा सा, बस शायद जो इंजीनियर टाइप का पर्सन था, वो समझ में आ रहा था कि ये ट्री को लेके कुछ बात करना चाह रहा है। तो वो उनके साथ इंटरेक्शन हुआ, बाद में मुझे उन्होंने बताया कि ऐसे कुछ समझ में आ रहा। तो वो ऐसे ही मेरा स्टार्ट हुआ था, पहला परफॉर्मेंस इस तरह से स्टार्ट हुई थी। फिर बाद में फिर मैं मास्टर डिग्री के बाद मैंने बहुत सारे दिल्ली में बहुत सारे परफॉर्मेंस आर्टिस्ट, इंद्र सलीम से लेकर बड़े बड़े आर्टिस्ट के साथ वहाँ जो मिलता रहता था, बातचीत हो रहा। तो फिर मुझे बहुत सारे चांसेस मिले कि मैं परफॉर्मेंस करूं, लेकिन मेरी जो इकोलॉजिकल सेंसिटिविटी एंड इंडिविजुअल परफॉर्मेंस का जो एक अंदर कोर है ना मेमोरी है, वो उसी के साथ साथ चलता रहता है। तो इस तरह से मेरा कंटिन्यूशन हुआ है। अभी तक मैं कम से कम 25-26 परफॉर्मेंस ऑलरेडी कर चुका हूँ, ऑफलाइन ऑनलाइन। लेकिन कोलाबरेटिव परफॉर्मेंस कभी नहीं किया मैंने, क्योंकि मुझे माइंड में नहीं आता है कि मैं कभी जज नहीं कर पाता हूँ कि नेक्स्ट क्या मेरे साथ रिएक्शन होगा, क्योंकि मैं ऑलवेज मैं अंदर ही खोए रहता हूँ। इसलिए मैं आगे को आना, फिर किसके साथ क्या रिएक्शन होगा, मैं उसके लिए मैं थोड़ा फेयरनेस मेरे साथ है, इसलिए मैं कोलैबोरेशन नहीं कर पाता हूँ बिटवीन द परफॉर्मेंस। बट फर्स्ट यहाँ पर जो मैं परफॉर्मेंस हुआ तो मैं कोलैबोरेशन तो जीती ने किया है और परमेश जी ने किया, क्योंकि वो जो फायर बड़ा चैलेंजिंग चीज था, फायर हो नहीं रहा था। लेकिन इंटरेस्टिंग बात ये था कि आ, मैंने क्या है कि उस स्पेस के साथ और मटेरियल के साथ एक है ना एक चैलेंज लेना मुझे अच्छा लगा। तो उसके बाद मुझे खुशी भी लगा, कुछ चीज़ बन गया, ये चीज़ थी। और दूसरी बात है कि बेंगलुरु में पहली बार मैं यहाँ इस स्पेस में आया हूँ। और इस स्पेस में जब मैंने स्मिता ने जब इनवाइट किया था, खाली टाइटल था ये जो, लेकिन मैंने कुछ सोचा नहीं था कि क्या करूँगा क्या नहीं करना है। अ, सोच के भी नहीं आया। तो जब हम ट्रैवल कर रहे थे तो मेरे माइंड में आया कि कुछ चीज़ें कलेक्ट कर लेता हूँ, जैसे राइस। मेरे माइंड में हर वक्त राइस इज कॉमन, साउथ इंडियन एंड ईस्टर्न साइड ऑल्सो राइस इज कॉमन। सो आई थॉट दिस राइस इज आई use common material for my performance. So I choose rice first. Then I buy rice, then collect some rice, means we should collect pot. तो हम लोग 2 घंटा लगाए इस सारे मटेरियल को खरीदने के लिए। तो ये यही प्राइमरी आइडिया है, दिस इज ओनली प्राइमरी आइडिया कि मैं आई विल कुक द राइस, देन आई सर्व टू ऑल, दिस इज द प्राइमरी। बट जब मैं इस स्पेस में आया तो वो पीछे चला गया, वो जो कंटेंट पीछे चला गया। लेकिन ये जितने ट्रीज हैं, ये इतने बड़े बड़े लेगेस, इतना बड़ा हिस्ट्री रन कर रहे हैं, ये कितने सालों के, कि हम तो 2 साल 5 साल के हैं, लेकिन ये कितने सारे बातें ये लोग प्रिजर्व करके रखे हुए हैं। तो उनके साथ मुझे सचमुच मुझे उनके साथ कुछ बातें या रिएक्शन होना चाहिए। तो मैंने सोचा था पहले बड़ा वाला ट्री में ही जाऊंगा। तो मैंने ट्राई मतलब सोचा माइंड में, लेकिन नहीं, टाइम बहुत कम है, क्योंकि एक लिमिटेड टाइम दिया गया है। तो मैंने स्टार्टिंग से उसी चीज को, ट्री को जितने आसपास में हो सकता है उसको मैंने पहले अपने आप में महसूस करने की कोशिश किया। फिर साथ में वो फूड को लगाया, क्योंकि फूड प्रैक्टिस आई थॉट कि फूड द बेस्ट वे टू शेयर द इमोशन डायरेक्टली। बातों में जितना नहीं है, कि खाने में मुझे लगता है कि ये इंडियन का जितने भी आप रिचुअल्स देखेंगे, जितने भी फेस्टिवल्स देखेंगे, आई थॉट कि फूड इज द मेन एरिया ऑफ गिविंग द एक्सप्रेशन, शेयरिंग द इमोशंस। सो दिस इज, आई थिंक।
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Uh, During my performances, I also noticed, like, realized later that, some of the uh, like rituals which I have observed during my childhood or as muscle memory, so they come as a pattern in my performances. Like combing, it's a simple, like, it's a homely gesture what we everyday do, and stitching, for say, and the one which I have shown on the video, inspired from the ritual of during the Dasara, yeah, the sowing the seeds and growing them for 9 days. So yeah, that's what also, like, I've realized, like, somewhere I don't realize it while I'm doing it, but after doing it I think about it, and somewhere as muscle memory I carry those things, rituals within me, and which reflects in the performances.
And it was wonderful that you said, your mom does that,
Yeah.
and it comes from there. Yeah.
And I always used to help her collecting the
Mhm.
anthill soil and the seeds and all.
Wonderful. So I guess, can do we have time for audience to ask questions? Huh? Yeah, we have, okay. So open to the audience to ask questions.
Uh, Hello. This is my first time seeing performance art generally. Um, and this might be a silly question, but do you have this concept that like a cop in your head or like a man in your head who's watching you do something and is like telling you no? Like in like theater, the oppressed, you have cop in your head, and then you have the idea of like I forgot which poet it was who said there's like a man in your head who's watching you do things as like a feminist like this one. And I was wondering, especially when the topic of doing your own like solo performance art, not for an audience, for yourself, do you ever see yourself imagining like an audience in your head and find yourself performing for this imagined audience? And do you think that's something that sort of stops you from performing to your truest abilities when you're alone? Or is that something that really like helps you actually keep like the part of the performance in that process?
So very good question. I don't know why you thought it was silly. Yeah.
Okay, so in my case, I do a lot of lucid dreaming. As I said, I start with an abstract idea. I do a lot of pillow talk also. So I will sleep and I will have the abstract idea and I will tell my pillow I need clarity. By morning, it's a continuous process. So I build that kind of a thing. So by morning, I will have clear things. Sometimes it is so clear that I know where I'm standing, where things can be, and all those things. If I'm doing a public work, of course, it might change when I'm doing it practically, but that is there. So my the other side that you're talking about, that cop is not there. Uh, Earlier it used to be, but I'm able to shut it down now because that's where I said that I do not bring the idea of what can go wrong. Because if I bring in the idea of what can go wrong, then I am going to give much more power to that cop who's going to stop me doing anything. And most of my works, there have been very okay. So one work, so I sometimes don't think too much, and that's where it goes haywire. So one work I was uh, getting shaved, and this was in NIV Delhi long time back, and then I had called a welding guy to do welding, and I was constantly looking at that welding light with open eyes, and people are shaving me, and I had no clue what it is going to do to my eyes. And then by the end of that day, my eyes were swollen, and I had to sleep with that pain. And in the pain, and then I got up to go and pee, I'm contemplating that, oh shit, now my eyes are the most important thing. My eyes are gone because I couldn't see anything. Now my artist career is over. Now what are the things I can do in my life? So those questions started coming. Luckily, by morning I started seeing something, and then I went to a doctor, and he said it's fine. But that was a very insane idea of mine. So now what I do is when I get some idea, I consciously put certain things that okay, I need to stop here because it can go haywire. So that sensibility has come now, which earlier I would not bring in. So that is how it is.
So it is the same, like, you get a vision, like, because artists do contemplate and to get a clarity, but it is not full scripted. But you have seen the space. Usually, we artists go to the spot 1 or 2 days before, get the vibrations, and look at the site and make a mapping, and what kind of movements can be there. But this time I couldn't go for some reason. But I know this NGMA very well, so I have performed also, so I know the spot. So so it's more like a contemplation, and you get kind of an vision where what you want to achieve through this action for yourself. Other things are all not calculated so much for me. um, and yeah, when I'm performing alone, yeah, it is like you're testing your own potential, so it can go to any extent, but still we have to gauge the risk. Like the bamboo thing, I didn't know because I was not aware that there might be more. But it's okay, nothing happened. Luckily, I'm saved. Yeah.
Yes, there is a witness inside my head that also sees from the point of view of a spectator. Not that you can cover all everyone's thought, but you just have a small idea of how they would take it or how what they can interpret it as. They can totally override your idea, and they might think otherwise as well. Either you cover it up, as in you try to make it as precise as possible to convey your idea, or you just be open to what the audience might understand it as.
I have something to say. So I've never really performed in the public space. It's always been within, the confines of a gallery, or sometimes in Chitrakala Parishad. It's my college, and it was during a workshop, so it's different. But in the last so many months, when I was in Berlin, there were these workshops that I did with this um, group that does something called improvisation. It's a different kind of performance. But what I noticed then, and even in the other performances that I've done, is that um, uh, who's the ways of seeing John Berger. John Berger talks about how women are constantly watching themselves being watched. They watch themselves, and they also watch. I mean, everyone else is watching them. So this is something that I've never been able to snap out of. I'm constantly watching myself. Now, probably we've all been trained to do that also as women. We've been told that you have to see how you look, what parts of your body are showing, um, all that. But the only time when I don't watch myself is when I perform. Somehow, but it was always in the confines of four walls and a roof. So probably it is different in a public space. But that was the interesting thing that I noticed, that I could get out of my own head.
Per- Performance art is always, it is just like a, for me, it's a flow. Right? So you always try to build a relationship with the site. So whatever you see around you and with the environment, with the object, whatever, so wherever you are, always we try to build a relationship there. So there is, I mean, no U-turns. Once you start the performance, it will go on and on.
If anyone else is there to add, it will be great.
Hello. I didn't want to add, but I can just add that maybe it would interfere with the spontaneity and the creativity. So that's important. So in sculpture, so I don't think about it while working, especially with an axe or something and damage before after. I said I thought it was a lull, so I wanted to ask a question. As a complete layman, non-artist, new to, and I missed the beginning half an hour, I think. So I don't know if you covered, but um, the thinking process and the meditative process, the therapeutic process, the interactive process, whether it's space, nature, material, public, or objects, I guess, and animals, whatever. Um, Dance and everything is also involved, right? But we are all artists, so and maybe it's like obvious, but could you put it in words, like, because I'm not, as a layperson, I'm not getting actually. Like I heard someone not satisfied, and
Ravi,
art is never finished, but when does where does the art and the aesthetics come into time? You are asking very good questions, so maybe you can improve on the
no, so
question.
tell your question again, Ravi, so
No,
that
I didn't. This is the question.
okay. The
So,
question is
uh, I was just describing what I'm listening, what I'm hearing, the range of performance. But as artists and like a painting, you have composition and stuff like that. Not photography, you have light and shade. So it's easy to judge aesthetics aside from the intuitive feeling aspect. In here in performance, what is okay? Basically, I'm asking what's the difference between artist performing and all the other people who do this same. I guess you're from theater, right? So, I don't know whatever. But there are healers and there are dancers, actors, yakshagana people, all kinds of people. So, but as artists, from most of you from art background, what makes the difference that way? What's the art aspect, the aesthetic aspect? I'm just trying to. I don't know. I'm very new to this thinking, so I'm sorry if you can improve on the question.
Um, I feel it is way we want to express. It's a language. That's it. So, like it's a way, just like way of seeing. So, way of approaching things. So, if a dancer approaches the same thing, they might have a different kind of formula to approach the same issue. Yeah.
how is it different from dance, like for example?
Uh, yeah, okay. So suppose if a dancer approaches this space and maybe she's dancing around and doing some actions related to it, but it might be in kind of within navarasas, okay, within the confine of navarasas and things like that, and mudras and postures and something. I have my own kind of format. So it might not be the same format as Parmesh has, or it might not have same format as Jitin has. I make my own formula to approach the space. So each artist has this freedom of approaching the space in their own way. Through and there are very basic thing like body, space, and sight. This will be there. Yeah. Even a common person is a performer if one involves oneself, like, yeah, but it isn't, your experience becomes a performance slowly, but that you have to think consciously.
Ravi, I mean, I get your question. Um, I also, sometimes grapple with this. Somehow, when it comes to visual arts, it is much easier to think of all the different streams kind of coming in, and you think that it belongs there. Okay, science can come in here. Okay, okay, domestic activities can become art, or any material can become art. Uh, when it comes to performance, also it's, I guess it's the same thing, that it is the choice of the artist that you choose, and then yes, in that span of time it becomes art.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there are some examples like maybe I might be wrong with the name of the artist, like Joseph Beuys cutting potatoes. It's an experience by itself, and then that experience, if you get involved, you can experience something else in that. But it's a simple act of cutting potatoes, chopping potatoes on the table, and that can become a performance as well. But what you get out of it is a different thing. How you see it is a different thing. Yeah.
And there's John Cage, who kind of shakes things up quite a lot. And I don't know if he's no more now. So he used to shake things up. He's not an artist, he's a musician. he was a composer, and some of the most seminal performances were created by him. He worked a lot with sound and very time specific performances. And what which one? What is it? The 080, right? So, I mean, you can easily say, you can question him saying that, like, where was the music? You know, what were you doing? What were you composing over there? But somehow the act is so powerful that whoever wants to take from it, will get it. So I don't know if everyone knows about that particular uh, performance, but so he's a famous composer, and this whole audience of thousands of people are waiting over there, to hear music, and he does not play any music for like 6 minutes something, right? And the music is the like cough of people, and people shuffling their feet, and the musicians just turn the paper, and each every minute John Cage acts as if he's going to start something, so he's doing the movements of a composer. So how do you how do you experience this? How would you experience? I guess it's the same with performance on art also. You were saying that there is a formula, there's aesthetics in art, in photography, like.
Can I
Sorry.
answer? Can I answer? See, when you're saying a person doing daily things, how it is different from a performance artist. The person is doing a job for himself. If a beggar is going and begging on the road, it is his job. If an artist is choosing to do that, it is a very conscious decision to go into that particular space to create an experience for the artist and the others. So that is the difference between what you are saying and what the artist would do. Beggar's job is to beg. That they will do. It is very clear. My job is not to beg. My job, if I am choosing to go on the road and beg, then it is a very conscious decision which I am taking to create certain statements through those visuals, or a experience to those people, or a experience to my own self. That is what it is. When you talk about aesthetics, there are a lot of artists we have come across who are very clear about when they are doing a performance, the photograph has to be taken in a certain way, and then the photographs are also sold, and the other things are also done. That is again another thing. But when you're doing like this, at my level, I'm not, I will keep some idea of a visual, but I'm not very clear that I'm going to create a very exotic image that I'm going to sell. As of now, I'm not doing that. Later, I don't know whether I will be doing it or not. But as of now, it is very experiential for me. It is very experiential experience that I want to keep it for the audience also. And it's a very conscious decision. See, let's say if I'm doing a performance and you choose to, and I'm doing a thing here, and you choose to come into my performance and you start doing that, that way you can say that you are coming and doing a performance in with me or in my space, but it's not a very conscious decision. The artist has thought about it, chosen, done something, and then trying to work around it. It is the similar when Joseph, no, not Joseph Boys. I, uh, when an artist is doing Jackson Pollock, when he's doing a painting, okay, and a young kid starts throwing the paint on the canvas, you cannot compare both of them together. A child, it is the child's job to play with the paint on the paper or on the canvas, okay, and if this tomorrow the parents or somebody puts it on the in the gallery and you say that okay, Joseph Boy, this thing, Jackson Pollock also has done this, you cannot compare that. There is no comparison between that. There is a proper journey of a personality developing into something. That is the difference. It's the same
It's
thing.
the same thing when you say that carpenter. What is the difference between carpenter and sculptor? Yeah. So
This
So how would you
Marina explains very beautifully this performance and this performing art. It is the difference between blood and tomato ketchup. Okay, so it is the difference between acting and being. So acting tipo is a different, being tipo is a different. That is the acting.
What's the difference between a sculptor and a craftsperson who does something with bamboo and a carpenter? How would you differentiate between you and them? So they are describing it.
What kind of words you want? Yeah, yeah. That's
The same way how you would assess how you're satisfied with your sculpture. You're done, you're satisfied, you know it. So it's the same way. Some are durational.
You said you are a layman and sculptor. So how do you differentiate that? No, no, you said yourself a layman and sculptor. So what you are?
so you're already performing. Always, you're already doing a performance art, and we are the audience. See, performance it is not to judge. No, performance is not to judge. It is experiential. So I'm experiencing your performance here. It's
And
not
unless
judge.
until you announce that you are doing a performance, so it will not become a performance. If you don't consider it as a performance, being a layman, so now also my thinking process is going on. So I'm thinking in this theater, what kind of performance I do. There are a lot of seats, so a lot of people are watching me. So how can I come up with some performance? Still, my thinking process is going on. Hmm.
Smitha, are we out of time? Okay,
No,
maybe we can continue the talk, outside.
she wanted to ask a question.
Okay, okay. We have to give.
Okay, hi.
Ashwanya.
In the interest of time, I'll ask one question. I had more than that, but that's okay.
You can ask.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, okay, so you know how like visual artists, like for example, painters or someone, they develop a certain style during their practice. So like by seeing their painting, the materials or color palette they use, you're like, okay, this is the person who has done it. So does a performance artist also develop or have a certain style? Which is because the performance arts, it's usually constantly evolving in terms of ideas, sight, etc., and the language that you use. And so does it so in that certain act, so for example, if I'm saying that, okay, I'm describing a person's act, is it possible for you to say that, oh wait, in this particular act, then oh, it must be this person? Are you able to do that? So what I'm asking is, so do you consciously or subconsciously end up developing a style, or if not, is that also conscious or subconscious?
Okay. What I believe is whether you develop, I don't think so that there is a style, but you create a language. So when you see an artist's work from past 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, you will see the transition of that artist. That is always there. The elements that they are using, the actions that they are doing. So they create a language. Whether you call it as, I don't think so, it can be called as a style, but it's a language that they develop, and then you understand that that artist is developing this, and it's a constant process that is going on. It breaks, it changes, it breaks, it changes, but there is a language that is developing, that is there.
Yeah, you can follow the trail actually. And performance artist or any artist, they are evolving every time. So it's always a kind of a progress from what they started. But there are some questions which they are trying to answer to themselves, and they'll be going back to that question for the each process. And maybe he's searching something for so many years, and I'm searching something for so many years. So we'll be hitting that question again and again till we get seek some kind of an answer. Yeah.
Everyone has their own approach. See, by looking at this glass, so I can perform in a different way. He can perform in a different way. The same approach. So with every object, how you interact, that becomes a kind of language. So every time, next time, so I mean, think in a different way. With the same glass, if I want to perform with the same glass, I don't do the same performance. So I develop it. So I have shown you that the one of the performance in the water. So the recently I have done, and yesterday also I have done in a different way. So that's how it develops.
And see, that is where it is different from acting. You're not trying to reach to the same absolute thing. You know consciously that it is changing, it is evolving. That's where it is totally different from acting.
And we also can't repeat what we have done already. So it's not like we are recreating the same scene, or we cannot create that same moment, same scene, same emotion. Nothing is repeated. So it's purely a new way of approach. Tomorrow we are different in
And
that way.
also there is no concept of perfection. So you have to do it in particular way. There is no concept of
There
perfection.
is a
So
certain
at least you can develop.
characteristic. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
Instead
just
of calling it style, there is, you can see a certain kind of characteristic in each artist. There is, if you see Marilyn Ashram, she has a certain characteristics to her performance art. You see Joseph Beuys, he has a certain characteristics. It's not style, but you can identify the performance artists with their particular characteristics in language.
So if you watch my previous performances, so my thought is, see now, most of the things I'm doing in a public, so I need to grab them attention first, so that I'm creating some unusual shape or something images I create. So the people gets to know what is there, then they'll approach me. Then it is very easy to convey them why I'm here. So what is my motivation like that. So that is my I find out it myself. First, I will attract your attention first. So then it goes to the matter.
I want to just add on it. Actually, academically, I'm suffering some like how to study performance art in India, especially. Uh, Main thing is less number of artists are working on performance art, and there is no specific documentation. There is no any literature of basically contemporary performance art and till also modern art. इंडिया में परफॉर्मेंस आर्ट का हिस्ट्री बहुत कम है, जबकि अदर कंट्री में 1960 से शुरू हो चुका है, उसका बहुत सारे मेनी हिस्ट्रीज आर देयर. So here now in India, many artists or artist community, those are study art, those are जो experience ले रहे हैं art का is only painting and sculpture because they have big history and many literatures are there. But performance art, these are lag behind it. So this is the actually big issue to explain the performance art, especially in India, and the justify actually the definition of art and performance art and the style of performance. Actually इसको हम documentation का problem है कि एक तो ये है कि कोई स्टाइल स्पेसिफिक एक्शन नहीं है, और साथ में इसका कोई, जैसे हमें मान लीजिए परवेज जी का हम डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में बहुत सालों से देख रहा हूँ, इवन इंद्र सलीम का डॉक्यूमेंट्री मैंने लास्ट 10 ईयर्स से मैं कर रहा हूँ, उसमें कोई भी उनका स्टेटमेंट एक जैसा नहीं है, लेकिन इंद्र सलीम तो एक पर्सन है, तो उसको हम मैं अकेला डॉक्यूमेंट करता हूँ या कोई और करेगा या कोई और करेगा, इसको जितना एक्सपांड होगा, थोड़ा सा लिटरेचर जितना प्रिजर्व होगा, उसका ग्रामर ऑटोमेटिकली बनेगा। जैसे आप बहुत सारे इजिम्स आए हैं पेंटिंग में, इन स्कल्पचर में, वो इजिम्स अभी भी वो आउट ऑफ डेट हो रहा है धीरे धीरे। सेम कुछ साल के बाद भी ये परफॉर्मेंस आर्ट अलग ट्रेंड में चला जाएगा। टेक्नोलॉजिकल वैसा हो जा रहा है, बहुत सारे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स रिलेटेड हो गया, सेंसर बेस हो गया, इवन ऑल्सो इंटरनेट बेस हो गया। बहुत सारे टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ, बहुत सारे मीडियम के साथ आने बाद बहुत सारे फॉर्म डेवलप हो गए। तो ये अभी भी वी आर नाउ चाइल्ड इन परफॉर्मेंस आर्ट। सो इसको हम एक कंक्लूजन में नहीं ला सकते कि इसे स्टाइल, इसे क्या है वो क्या नहीं है, बस बस वर्किंग, इसे ओनली एक्सप्रेस and experimental and experiential.
I want to add to this. Performance art pedagogy is very at the early stage, and also very consciously, as in Asian, South Asian part of we are also we learned Western performance art, but I think we don't want to fall under that the grammar of their perspective of performance art, because performance art, if you broadly study, it is much older than the Western performance art. If you say Ram Leela festival, everybody is performing. Okay, so there the performance art, if you read the theory, it goes much wider. So, and what we develop now will become a new way of um, seeing performance art through the regional, especially I think India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan. The way the perspective is very different. The Asian, Southeast Asian perspective is very different, and we are into the rootedness of our own culture and see performance art in a new perspective. So we don't want to bracket it. We are still evolving. Even I don't know how we are going to develop, and I don't want to fix myself, or I think even any of these artists, we are still exploring it. So we don't want to fall into kind of in stylization or something. But yeah, of course we follow some kind of, like Monica said, we follow some kind of language with our approach to the elements and the space, and everybody has their character. So I feel this performance art has to be kind of studied, and theoretically also we need to rewrite something with the present perspectives. This is very much crucial, because how many years we know Marina Abramovic, we know Dadaist artists, we were inspired by those. Joseph Beuys was my quite an inspiration in my degree days. But we have to, we learn something, we get inspired, but we have to break that. That's how new discovery happens. It's like a science. Thank you.
Maybe we could continue the session outside, so that we can all stretch our legs. And thank you, everyone. You have been particularly, it's been a wonderful conversation, dialogue with everyone. Thank you to all the artists, and thank you to the audience. Yes.
I request all the panelists to be on the stage, please. So, on behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art Bengaluru, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the artists, participants, and Ms. Smitha Cariappa, who have made this unique live art intervention and performance possible. Essential thanks to our all participating artists for engaging so deeply with the historic space and for bringing fresh perspective of the relationship between human body, urban environment, and collective well-being. Your performance have encouraged us to reflect on our everyday interaction with the space, movement, and environment around us. Finally, we extend our appreciation to the audience for your presence, openness, and engagement. Thank you all for being part of this enriching experience. Now, from NGMA Art Shop, we would like to felicitate all the panelists and all the artists. And for this, I would like to call Ms. Smitha Cariappa, the brain behind Somatic Bodies in the city. And we'll start from here. Smita ji. Smita ji. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.